Hey everybody, welcome back. And if it's your first time here, just plain welcome. Snow White came out this weekend, and wasn't a movie I was probably interested in seeing, even if everything had gone perfectly. Just not my kind of thing. My wife, my daughter probably would have tripped all over themselves to go. Wife's been sick. Daughter's not even 13, so she ain't driving herself. So they didn't go. And from what we can tell, that's probably for the best because the reviews are terrible. And the box office, and let's understand that terrible reviews does not always translate to a terrible box office, right? Lots of poorly reviewed films have done fantastic. Lots of really positively reviewed films have bombed. So it doesn't really mean a whole lot that the reviews are bad. Especially because, let's face it, what professional reviewers like and what the audience like is oftentimes very different. There's a reason Rotten Tomatoes has a critic score and an audience score. And truthfully, I tend to look at the audience score. But the box office is even terrible on this piece of shit. Okay? They're looking at $43 million for opening weekend. They did a preview week, or preview day, I guess, and got about $3.5 million. I don't know how many screens it was shown on, but if it was a decent number of screens or even a wide release, that's freaking terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And $43 million isn't great either. This is a movie that cost $240 million to make. The rule of thumb is you need to make back twice its budget to actually be profitable because marketing and all that stuff. Of course, then again, Hollywood accounting, no movie's ever profitable. Funny that, huh? Anyways, there's a lot of people talking about why. And I don't think there's any one cause. You know, a lot of people on the right are pointing to Rachel Zegler. Some people are pointing to Gal Gadot. Some people are pointing to, just movie going public as a general rule. I don't think it's any one thing. And I'm going to push back along the idea that it's all Rachel Zegler's fault, that she's just so terrible, she's so terrible a person it killed the movie. And I'll explain why in a minute. First, let's understand the movie going public isn't going to movies like they used to. Last weekend, my son and I went to see Novocaine. This was the movie that was the #1 film in America that weekend. We were the only two people in the theater. It was a 4:30 showing, so not super early, not super late, maybe not one of the prime time, but the show you go to if you're going to catch the movie before you go to eat, right? We were the only two. We could have raised as much hell as we wanted. Nobody would have given a shit. Nobody was there, right? So when I saw some people talking about how few seats were sold at various theaters for Snow White, I wasn't nearly that surprised, and I didn't chalk it all up to the movie itself. But there are things going on there that are part of it. One part is Rachel Zegler. Like I said, she's managed to piss off a lot of people on the right. It started in general when she took a very antagonistic view of the original film. She wasn't a fan of the original film. She made that very clear. She referred to Prince Charming as a stalker, said the whole thing was, kind of creepy, and that her version was going to be completely different. Well, that's not a great start because Snow White is a beloved property. A lot of people love the movie Snow White with all their heart. And to sit here and take a massive dump on it and say, well, our version's going to be completely different, not really motivating people to go to the movie, Since then, Rachel has gotten into a lot of other controversies. She's been very vocally pro-Palestine, which really boils down to pro-Hamas. I know she probably doesn't think of it that way, or maybe she does. I don't know. Don't care. But her comments are taken as pro-Hamas by people who are very pro-Israel. She's done a lot to alienate a lot of people with that stuff too, and it's just been this constant stream. Then there's the issue of the dwarves. See, when they first announced they were doing this, Peter Dinklage kind of lost his shit, was really upset about using dwarves again, little people. Dinklage, probably the best known little person, dwarf, midget, whatever the fuck you want to call him, in the world right now. He gets very upset about the idea of casting people in roles simply because they are dwarves, or by contrast, not casting them in roles because they are. I get it. I get where he's coming from. I mean, the dude's a phenomenal actor. How many roles did he miss out on because he wasn't physically right for a role? The shallowest industry on earth. Women all the time get told they're too old to work anymore. It's just how the whole industry is shit. Gotcha. All right. Well, they took that. They heard Dinklage. They listened to him. And they did everything wrong. It started with a rather diverse cast of characters, all full-sized and brightly colored enough that it looked like, I don't know, a New York Pride Parade in the making. It did not engender a lot of excitement in people. And Disney listened. Good for them. They decided to replace the actors with CGI dwarves. And they used like college interns or something to do the CGI because it's fucking awful. Like, Jesus Christ. We had CGI getting so good. Anyways, that's another topic. I don't want to get into it. They CGI the dwarves. They look like shit. Now, they say they're trying to make them look like the original dwarves did back in the day. I think they'd have been better off doing the Who Framed Roger Rabbit look and just animating them that way. Right? Even if they have to use CGI to make it work, they could have at least made them look animated or something. Like, Jesus. It would have been better in my book. Other people probably had different views. That didn't help. It looks bad. Then we've got Gal Gadot, who I'm a Gal Gadot fan. I love her. Right? She's one of my biggest issues also with the movie was you have Gal Gadot jealous of Rachel Zegler's looks. Now, if we're being fair, Rachel Zegler's not unattractive. I've seen her in other stuff, and she's attractive. But Gal Gadot is like ethereal goddess level gorgeous, right? This is like, almost like trying to say that Charlize Theron should be jealous of Kristen Stewart's looks, if we're really being honest about it. They tried that though, didn't they? That didn't work either. But the problem with Gal Gadot is, in addition to being just very, very attractive, she is also a Zionist. She is Israeli. She believes her country has a right to exist. She has served in the military to protect that existence. And she holds to that. And she didn't get really deep into it, but she did in time speak out and say that, yeah, her country has a right to exist. Considering she works in the film industry and so many of her colleagues have been shitting on her country wanting to exist, I get her speaking out. But what's happened here is you've kind of gotten this perfect storm of bullshit. You don't have large audiences anyways, generally. You had a movie that was mired in controversy from the start because of the title role going to someone who hated the property and then seemingly went out of her way, I should say. I don't think she was really that far out of her way, but she almost seemed to go out of her way to take a dump on half of the American population politically, particularly by supporting a group of people who are siding with terrorists. Then you've got Gal Gadot, who's on the other side of that whole thing. So while you can alienate one half of the electorate and probably still have a successful movie, they managed to have a cast that alienated both. Conservatives aren't going to go watch it because of Rachel Zegler, who they despise. Liberals generally are siding with Palestine, and therefore they're not going to want to go watch it because they don't want to support Gal Gadot. So what's happening is nobody wants to see it because everybody hates everything about the movie. It's kind of fucking impressive when you think about it. Do you know how hard it is to make everyone hate your movie before it's even out? The fact that they got $43 million was fucking amazing. I didn't think they'd get that much total. They did. Good on them. They're unlikely to make their money back in the long run. The question is, will Hollywood learn any lessons from this? A lot of people are calling this woke, and I haven't looked at the stories. I don't know how woke the story is. Zegler's comments sure suggest there would be a certain amount of that. A lot of girl boss energy, et cetera, but I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to comment about it being woke. But you've got a movie that's mired in controversy, and Disney and Hollywood in general should take some lessons. First, when it's a beloved property, you should probably make it clear you respect that property. Because the fans of the original are the ones who are going to be in the theater to watch it. You tell them that what you liked doesn't apply anymore, and they're just not going to turn out. They're not. So there's that. For actors and actresses, to a certain degree, you just need to keep your mouth shut, right? Because you're alienating audiences. And if one of your co-stars alienates the other half of the audience, your movie's going to tank. And let's be real, I personally think Gal Gadot's presence was enough to tank it because she is who she is. She is Israeli. She does support her country's right to exist. She didn't have to speak out. It would have been enough on its own, which means the onus was on Zegler from the start. But that's just my take on that. You're welcome to your own take, and I can't say definitively I'm right. But I do want to know what you think about what happened. What do you think about the complete train wreck that seems to be Snow White's opening weekend? All right, do you think it was all Zegler? Do you think it was a combination of factors like me? Do you think it was something I missed? Go down in the comments below. Let me know. All engagement's good engagement. Haters leaving comments, YouTube doesn't give a shit. YouTube will just go, hey, he's getting engagement, all is well. So seriously, let me know what you think. While you're down there, hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that fun stuff. If you want to support the channel, I've got some links down below. You've got my Substack. You can follow me on Twitter, or X now. There's also a link to the Liberty Shop. All kinds of household goods, drinking glasses, wall art, all kinds of cool Liberty-themed stuff. Go down there, pick something up. It's an affiliate link. I'll get a couple bucks back. Doesn't cost you any extra. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up, and I will see you all in the next video.